Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel Limitless Reviews, a channel where we provide spectacular reviews to save money, because that's the goal of the modern era, and for the millennial is to save money. And who doesn't like some extra money in your pocket? So with this channel, you would think about me and you'd think about, why is this person not showing his face? What is he trying to hide? I'm not really trying to hide anything, but I'm waiting for my videos to reach 100 views, and after that, I will show you my actual face. So in this channel, I'm going to talk about a review of Cedar Point, and I went to Cedar Point on August 18, 2019. It was a Sunday, and normally when you think of Cedar Point on a Sunday, you think of it being crowded and busy with a lot of foot traffic. But I'm going to tell you how we went about the day and how we were able to save time and take the most out of the day and get the max out of what we could do. So we're going to start off with like the ticket prices and how I was able to save on the ticket prices, because if I can save, I'll do whatever I can too. So during President's Week, we were able to get the tickets for one person for $40. It popped up on the Cedar Point website, and we got the tickets. After tax, they must have been something around $45 per person. Normally, a Cedar Point ticket is around $85, maybe $90. And that's not even including the Fast Pass prices. The Fast Pass prices are $80 or $110 if you get the really good ones where you can go on all the rides and use your Fast Pass. It is very helpful. It does save you a lot of money when you think about the time you're saving and compare it to the money. You could probably get on all the rides and maybe even do some of the rides twice during the whole day. That's the Fast Pass. So how we were able to save our time was we were able to plan out where we wanted to eat beforehand and how we were going to attack the rides we wanted to get on. So the good thing with the tickets were there was no specific range. Like, there was no blackout timings. There wasn't any time about when you're allowed to go, what days you're allowed to choose. The only restriction was you have to go before September the 2nd. And if you bought that in February, you had about 6-7 months to plan all that out and pick the day you wanted to go, pick the time, look at the weather. So that gave us the flexibility to actually pick the weekend we wanted to go, the week, which was very helpful in the long run, because when you think about it, you have everything planned. You can go the day you want to, and you can pick a day where the kids are back in school. Because I live in Ohio, most of the kids were back in school by the third week of August, which gave us a good amount of time to spend at Cedar Point with less people. And this is definitely one thing you want to do. I always thought when I was going on Sunday it was going to be crowded and everything, but it was definitely not. And there's another thing going on at Cedar Point right now, which is the Gold Pass. They do have a Platinum Pass, but the Gold Pass is only for $99. And when you think about the Gold Pass, it's not as good as the Platinum Pass, but it does give you a lot of benefits. For the rest of 2019, that is during Halloween weekends, where Cedar Point does their Halloween rides and does their Halloween shows, you can get into Cedar Point with a one-time payment of $99. That $99 also helps in a lot of other things as well. So you can get into 2019, 2020, and you won't have to pay for parking. And if you don't know how much parking is $20 for a regular parking spot and $30 for the preferred parking spot. The reason they're providing this Gold Pass for only $99 is it's Cedar Point's 150th anniversary. And it's been really good for anyone who wants to enjoy the value of Cedar Point who sees going to Cedar Point 2 or 3 or 4 times during this year or next year. Imagine only paying $100. That's before tax. You could add tax on, maybe another $10. $110, but you can go to Cedar Point as much as you want. So you're not restricted on the time you go, the amount you go. You can go for 2 years almost and take as much time as you want there, which is great. Another benefit is that this pass provides a discount on food, which is really good because food at Cedar Point is not cheap. Anything you buy there is around $11, $10. Yeah, you could find corn dogs and hot dogs and pizza for about $8 or $9, but that's stuff that's not gonna fill you up. You can find these walking nachos and there's a Subway, but that's 9, 10, $11, which is still a pretty decent amount of paying you're paying out for food that isn't, really that good. But there is one place that I went to, and I will tell you later on in this review where it was and where I've worked at as well. And I think it's a great place. The food was amazing. And we will talk about that later in the video. Um, I live an hour and 30 minutes away from Cedar Point, and Cedar Point on the day that I went opened at 10 and closed at 11 at night. So the one thing I will say is if you get to Cedar Point around 9:30, 9:45, the earlier you get there, the better. Because the second you pull in to like this area, this road that leads to Cedar Point, there are a bunch of cars. So it's just not you. They're like another 15, 20 cars. And it's like this 5 mile distance you have to cover. And that takes around 20 minutes, which is shocking. It takes a long time to get in there, and then you have to wait for parking, and then you got to get in and find your parking spot, then walk from your parking spot to the ticket counter. That's if you're getting tickets. If you're getting tickets, add another 20 minutes because the lines are crazy. So my biggest point for you is if you want to save time and you want to get on all the rides, you have to get your tickets beforehand, like we were able to do. That saved us a bunch of time. So all we did was we walked in, and the one thing I will tell you is carry a fanny pack. It's not old. It's not outdated. Definitely carry a fanny pack because you could put your cell phones in there. You could put your purse, your earrings, anything else you want to put in there. Your wallet. The good thing with that is you can take it with you on any ride except for Steel Vengeance. I think that's the only ride where they have you take it off. And that was helpful for us because a locker at Cedar Point is about $2 or $3 an hour. And if you add that up for like 4 hours and you have to switch spots with different lockers, it's just a hassle. Like you have to move from one area to one area. And Cedar Point's not a small park, it's a huge park. So if you end up getting a locker at the front of the amusement park and you end up somewhere in the back, you're gonna have to walk back and forth, and it's just a waste of time. So that's definitely one thing I will tell you is carry a fanny pack with you, and that will definitely help to save you a lot of time. So we got into Cedar Point around 10 o'clock, maybe at the most 10:05, and there are people that have platinum passes that got in before us. But the good thing was, since it was a day where kids were back in school and a lot of kids that I think had already been to Cedar Point, it was mostly adults, and yeah, there were a couple of kids, but not as bad. We were able to get on our first ride within 30 minutes. We were able to get on Raptor. It's the first ride you get in. It's to the left, and it was very easy to get on. 30 minutes, I think, for any ride. If you can get on in 30 minutes or under, it is a big plus for you. So, being the frugal person I am, my main goal was to get on as many rides as possible. Because I spent only $40. If I got on three-fourths of the rides I wanted to get on, I would have been happy. That's the biggest thing for me. You want to get the bang for your buck. And if you're spending 40 and you can get $80 worth, hey man, more power to you. Keep that money with you, and you can spend that on food because food is not cheap. We will get into the restaurant I went to and how much it costs. So that's the way I approached the day. My day was with the idea of first get on a big roller coaster or two and then get on a smaller ride. Because once you've been waiting in line for, I would say, an hour and 30 minutes for a ride or an hour for a ride, you want to get on a smaller ride that you can get on quicker and you feel like you've accomplished something. Because if you wait for 3 hours and then you're all tired and sweaty and your legs are hurting, you want to get on something small, quick, get the breeze, get the adrenaline working, and get on to the next thing. So what I did was I did Raptor first and I did Blue Streak, and then I got on a ride called Max Air. That's kind of what I'm trying to get to. Blue Streak and Raptor are two of the roller coaster, and Max Air is a ride where you kind of just are in the air, you're turning, and it's just this giant wheel, and you're sitting and everyone's screaming because you're going up and down. It's just like a ride where you're going circles and circles all the way at the top, which is pretty cool, I think, for the ride. So I want to get into the rides we got on first. Like I told you, we got onto Raptor first. And then we got onto Blue Streak, which is another roller coaster. It's more of a kid roller coaster, but it was still pretty nice. And then we got on to Max Air. Blue Streak, I think we waited another 30 minutes. Max Air, I think we waited 20 minutes. And that's because we should have only waited 10 minutes, but someone threw up on the ride and they were trying to clean it up. So, one thing I would do recommend, don't eat and get on rides because you will for sure get queasy. Give yourself at least an hour after you eat your lunch to let that food digest and so you're able to walk and you don't feel queasy getting on a ride. And if you do, just tell them to stop the ride. That'd be the best thing because they have to take like 30 minutes to clean it, and it's just not one seat, it's a bunch of seats, and people get dirty. It's another 20, 30 minutes of added time onto you. And I was so upset because I was in the middle of the line and then someone throws up and you're like, oh my God, what do we do now? So, and after that, we got on Gatekeeper. Gatekeeper was another good roller coaster that we got on, and I think we waited another 45 minutes for Gatekeeper. And then I think since we got in at 10, and then the next ride we got on was Maverick, and that ride I would say definitely took us an hour and 30 minutes. It is a great ride. It's a fast ride. It does get your adrenaline pumping. You're racing on that ride. It is amazing. The drop's crazy. You'll have a lot of fun on that ride. By the time you got done with the first 5 rides, it was about 3 o'clock. And then the next thing we did was we went to get food because we'd been there for 5 hours. We were hungry, we were thirsty, and there are a lot of restaurants when you go to Cedar Point. There's a Panda Express. There are other regular vendors that serve pizza, pretzels, corn dogs, hot dogs, nachos, chips, and everything costs about the same, $9, $8, $10. But there's a restaurant that I worked at, which is one of the biggest fast food chains in America, and I know everyone knows about it, and it's ChickFilA. So ChickFilA, since I've worked at the place, I know the food's amazing. I know the food tastes amazing. It's fresh. Everything is not frozen. That's exactly the point I want to say. I want to exaggerate. It is not frozen. It is great food. It's actually hand breaded, pressed, dropped in fryers. You don't microwave it or anything. And I would love for Chick-fil-A to sponsor this video because I love Chick-fil-A. I worked at it. I worked at the place for 3 years in the kitchen, so I know exactly what happens. So we waited in line to get Chick-fil-A. We waited almost 45 to 50 minutes to get from the back of the line to get our orders in. I will point out a couple of things with this Chick-fil-A. I think what they could do better is the speed of service. I think they were a little slow that day, maybe because there were a lot of people and the line was insane. It took about 45 to 50 minutes and people were ordering, and it seemed like it was a lot of work going on in the background. We got our food. We ordered the food. At a regular Chick-fil-A, if you get a spicy deluxe meal, it might be around, I'm guessing, around $7.50 to $8. But at the Chick-fil-A in Cedar Point, it was around $11.50. So one thing I will recommend, that if you go, rather than just getting the regular Chick-fil-A sandwich, which is with the meal is like $10.50, get the deluxe. Get the lettuce, tomato, cheese. Get the fries. Get the drink. You'll love it. You'll enjoy it. You'll feel full, and you'll feel like I'm ready to go. Get this second round of the day going. What we did is once we got there at 3, we got food around 3:50. We sat there till about 4:30, let the food digest. 4:45, I'd say, to be exact. We got up, and then there's a roller coaster pretty close by. It's Magnum, and we were lucky to get on this ride because around 4:45, 5 o'clock, it started raining, and the rides were down for like 30 minutes. And what we were able to do is get in line for Magnum, and once it opened around 6, we were the first people to get on. That was luck. It rained a little, and we were able to stay in line. We could see it was just drizzling. It wasn't even rain. And I don't know why they closed the park down for like 45 minutes. If they closed it down for 15 minutes, I could have understood. But they closed it down for 45 minutes. It worked out for us, woo woo. We were able to get in line. We were able to get on the rides. And we were on within the first 10 minutes. It was the best. But this is from here on, from about 5:30, 6 o'clock onwards, the last 4 rides took us about 5 hours, 5.5 hours to get through. Because these were the big roller coaster rides. We started off with Val Raven, which I think has a deadly 90-degree-ish drop. It is fast, it leaves you up there, so it takes you all the way up slowly, and you're dangling at the top before you go down. So it is a very fast ride, a lot of loops, lot of time on that ride. I think it was a 2 minute, 2.5 minute ride, and I think it might be my favorite or second favorite ride. There's a ride in this list that I like even more than Val Raven. Then we got on a cheaper ride, I would put it, or a roller coaster. It's called Rougarou, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. That's what I think it's called. But you guys can fix me on the pronunciation. I could be wrong for sure. So the ride, I wonder why. I was able to get on in 30 minutes, which kind of scared me because I couldn't understand why a ride like that didn't have an hour long wait. I was expecting it to be longer, but I guess everyone was trying to get on the other rides, and there was another event going on. Cedar Point does these events where people on bicycles, they just do all these little events or riding bicycles, doing tricks. And then another thing that was going on was Cedar Point Nights. And that's another thing where Cedar Point gets bands, they set up places to have fires, and people are just trying to have a good time, sit, relax, enjoy the music, enjoy the environment. I guess that was another reason why the lines were kind of small at that point. We got off Rougarou in under 30 minutes, I would say. And this is the ride that I love the most, that I think took the longest, was Millennium Force. Millennium Force is a fast-paced, high-flying ride. You can get on that ride, and once you get off, you're like, I want to go again. That ride is one of my favorite rides. And I think we waited an hour and 30 minutes. I think that was the longest wait time, an hour and 30 minutes for that ride. And the one thing is with Cedar Point, once you have a lot of fast pass people getting in, it does slow down your time. I will say their Cedar Point app is very good time wise. It is pretty accurate. We did follow it, and for the most part, I don't think we were off for more than like 10 minutes. So definitely download the Cedar Point ride. It gives you a good idea. It's got the map. You can kind of go around. You can check stuff out. You can check out the different restaurants on the app, check out the times. It was amazing how much you can do on that app. I used it last year, but I think they made some improvements this year, making the app much better. And after we got off Millennium Force, the next ride we hit was Iron Dragon, and we were tired. It was around 10:30, and by the time we got off that ride, it's a pretty nice ride. I remember last year when I went on that ride, and they had this VR service where you would get on the ride and it would take you around, and you would be flying around, I think, castles or something, and there would be dragons. It was amazing. They didn't have that this year, but I think that was really cool when they did it last year. I think that was kind of how we wrapped up the day. I think we were done by 11 o'clock. We were really tired. There was a ride I wanted to get on at the end, but I felt like it was just too much, and I don't think I could wait anymore. Some of the do's and don'ts I have for you. A do I do have for you? Oh, that's funny. Do I do have for you is definitely it's ChickFilA. Voila, I know I work there, but I definitely will say the food is fresh. It's great. It's amazing. Worth the time, worth the money. $12, $11, I guess would be the meal price, but it's a really good option. You'll feel full. Who doesn't love chicken? Oh, I did forget to tell you. I'm sorry. There are no salad options at this Chick-fil-A. It's all sandwiches. And they do not scan your app either. So if you think, I'm going to get some points on that app, forget about it. They don't scan the app. So yeah, that's one of the do's. Another do is to get there on time. I would say before time, 30 minutes beforehand. They start opening the park, I feel. I've heard that from a lot of people. If it opened at 10, try to get there 9:30, they'll let you go in, which is really good. Some of the don'ts are, for girls, I would say, is don't wear earrings. There are a lot of rides where they don't want you to wear earrings. So try to avoid any jewelry. It's just another hassle taking it off, putting it somewhere. Don't wear flip flops unless you want to, because you're gonna have to take off the flip flops on every ride, and then it's just another hassle. And some rides they want you to have shoes on, and it's better to just wear comfortable shoes that you can walk in. I will say I bought a pair of Nikes, and they have these foamy soles. I will do a review on the Nike shoes that I wore. in my next review that I'll upload. But definitely wear shoes you're comfortable in, shoes that you have a nice balance in, because it is a lot of walking. I think I had my Fitbit with me, and I think I hit like 15,000 steps. It's not a lot, but it's not a little when you think about it on your legs in an 11-hour period when you're on your feet all the time. So those are like my biggest takeaways for do's and don'ts. And I hope you like this review. I hope you like my channel. And if you like the channel, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and please provide me a lot of likes and subscribes. And I will definitely show my face when we hit that 100 view mark. I'm not asking for a lot, just 100 views. And let's see where we can take it from here. So this is me. No name for right now, but there will be a name. Signing off. Thank you for now. Have a good day, and we'll see you in our next video. Peace.